Yo, what's going on, guys? With the recent patch that came out, I saw a lot of rumors in the official Discord that they stealth nerfed guns like the Sickle and the Scorcher. So instead of just posting your generic patch notes video yesterday for you guys, I decided to do a pretty long live stream last night testing out a ton of different weapons and stratagem, especially the mechs since that received some changes as well, and we wanted to see if anything secretly got changed. We also figured out what is causing crashes this patch and how to stop crashing so much. I consistently crashed my game multiple times, so we're pretty sure what is causing it. And with that being said, just be sure to drop a like on this video to spread it to other Helldivers, and let's go straight into the testing. So like I said, I saw multiple rumors that the Sickle and the Scorcher were stealth nerfed. People were saying that the Sickle's heatsink was lowered this patch, so I got a clip of the Sickle heatsink completely wasting an entire battery, and then I also wasted an entire battery of my own on this patch, and we just put them back to back in editing. And the amount of difference in these two clips is so small, I could have easily just missed a couple frames lining these up. The one on the right is the heatsink from this patch, and I barely see any difference. As for the Scorcher, people are saying it can't kill tanks or cannon turrets anymore, and we are just going to play a couple clips of me doing that with the Scorcher. Now, ignore the fact that I die to a mine in the second clip. You can see as soon as I respawn, I still take the cannon turret down in just a couple more shots as soon as I come back. And for those of you that don't know, it's much easier to just target the sides of the tanks or the cannon turret's heat sinks, as the splash damage bounces into the heat sinks. So that's how you do that if you didn't know. And as far as it comes to any sort of stealth buffs or nerfs this patch, we didn't find a single change in the stream last night. I was also asking everyone in chat if they noticed anything, and everything that anyone pointed out we tested and we didn't find a single change. Now, does that mean there was no stealth changes? Maybe, but just not from what I can tell. The stream ended up turning into more of a Mythbusters Helldivers special rather than us really finding anything. And honestly, this is a good thing because we have had a wave of stealth changes in the previous patches, and it's much better if they're more transparent with these patch notes so that we can properly test these items. Now, there are still a couple guns that need to see buffs, and the spear is at the top of my list. I will say that this gun was performing really well at first last night, to the point that myself and chat thought it got stealth buffed, but as the games went on, it went back to its wonky self, and I don't believe anything changed here either. One quick recommendation I have for the spear's targeting is that it is pretty easily blocked by objects. Like, even sometimes if a bush is in the way of you and a Bile Titan, it won't target it at all. So what I was thinking was change this gun so that if you mark an enemy, the spear locks onto it. That way, you can't target enemies behind mountains, but at the same time, a little bush isn't going to get in the way. Now to cover why so many people are crashing on this patch and how to fix it. Now, of course, chat was a big help in this, but we identified the crashing coming down to this change in yesterday's patch right here. Shots from arc-based weapons such as the Blitzer shotgun and the arc thrower stratagem now count towards shots fired and shots hit stats. We literally tested this multiple times. We did games where we only brought the Blitzer, and we did games we only brought the arc thrower, and both guns consistently crashed our game and even the stream multiple times. These two weapons are definitely tracking stats a little too aggressively, and unfortunately these two guns are unusable this patch. And by the way, we did this at the beginning of the stream, and for the rest of the night we didn't use any arc weapons and the game didn't crash once. Well, actually, we did crash one more time, and that was when two of my teammates decided to bring Tesla towers. So I believe Tesla towers are linked to the crashing as well, and that actually seems to be confirmed because the official Discord posted an update while I was editing this video that they are looking to fix these three items by early next week. Now, personally, I feel they should just roll back the changes on the arc thrower and the Blitzer in the meantime, because I think people would rather play the game with the guns they like rather than track the stats. But it is also possible that the stat tracking change isn't what's causing the crash, and it's something else entirely, maybe with the graphics or whatnot. Hopefully this gets fixed ASAP, and in the meantime, unfortunately, you just can't use any arc weapons until this fix goes out. Now, on the bright side, there are actually a lot more support weapons that I've been finding success with, so try out something new like the recoilless rifle, for example. I actually have a recoilless rifle build coming out very soon, so be sure to turn on notifications if you want to see that. And finally, let's go over the change to mechs. So I saw a giant Reddit post that had over 4,000 upvotes that said mechs were still destroying themselves when shooting a rocket turning to the right, but I did not find that happening at all in any of our mech games. The biggest biggest change to the mech is that the rocket now fires from further left of the mech, meaning it won't destroy your mech when you shoot rockets and turn anymore, but it did change the mech's targeting and accuracy. From close range, the rocket now fires further from the left, and it also starts a little bit high off the ground. It's also pretty difficult to aim straight down with the rockets from close range, meaning it is a bit more awkward for taking out bug holes. You just have to shoot bug holes from a longer range now, and this is a bit annoying because a lot of us have a lot of playtime with the mechs and we're pretty used to its firing patterns, but you just gotta practice the new firing pattern now. As for the mech's melee and the mech taking damage when landing from the Pelican, I've heard of some people saying that their mech was still getting destroyed on landing. For me, we didn't see this happening at all last night, but I will say even before this patch, it was pretty rare for it to die on landing. I know some clips are out there of this happening, but I made an extensive mech testing video on my channel where we probably spawned in 80 to 100 mechs in just one day of testing between 4 players, because we also had that free mech call-in stratagem for a couple days. But in all of that testing and the amount of mechs we dropped, we only had one single mech get destroyed that entire day of testing. And I cannot confirm whether or not it still takes damage falling in because we only did a little bit of testing last night. But maybe we could segue this into talking about making a change to fall damage mechanics in general, because someone tell me why when my character literally like trips over a curb, it feels like I take 40% of my HP in fall damage. And something I will let you guys know about is that fall damage does do more damage to weak spots. So if you're diving off of a small ledge and you land on your head or your neck area, you actually take more fall damage. But if you flip over and land on your back from the same exact ledge, you sometimes won't take any fall damage at all. So keep in mind to always try to flip on your back when you're diving off of a small ledge, and you'll notice that you're consistently taking less damage or even no damage at all. The fall damage in general in this game for players and mechs both seem very inconsistent, and I just think if they lowered the fall damage across the board or even removed the player and mech weak spots completely, then people wouldn't be taking inconsistent damage in this game, and it would feel better for the gameplay in general. Let's go ahead and mention the fact that both heavy and light armor take the same amount of damage to the head, which is your weak spot. And enemies in this game are very good at hitting weak spots, so what's the point of wearing heavy armor? You can sometimes die in the same exact amount of hits as light armor, and even when enemies aren't hitting weak spots, heavy armor only lets you survive like 3 or 4 more hits from even the smallest enemies. Any sort of larger enemy will basically feel like it ignores your armor completely. So give me a reason to take off light armor. I'm already getting one shot in a lot of light armor. There's no point in nerfing it. Just buff the heavy armor. And the medium armor, by the way. And also, I think removing player weak spots from the game and removing it from players and mechs completely is the answer, because rockets, for example, one-shotting mechs also seems to do that because the splash damage is getting into the mech's weak spot. For example, mechs will die to a single impact grenade, but they can tank many melee hits from enemies, from bugs. You can literally sit in a pile of bugs for like 2 minutes. I wouldn't mind if they removed the weak spot on the mech, but then lowered the mech's HP in total. So that way we can use it against robots, but maybe you just can't sit in a pile of bugs for 2 minutes anymore. And honestly, I'm just under the opinion that weak spots make taking damage feel really, really inconsistent. Maybe this is too much, but I think they could adjust HP pools of the players and the mechs if they were to remove weak spots as well. Like I said, I just so often get one shot, even in light armor, even in heavy armor for that matter, when a random bullet, rocket, or a bug melee hits me in my weak spot. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Unfortunately, like I said, just avoid using the arc thrower, the arc blitzer, and the Tesla tower until they send out a fix. And that's going to be it for today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.